What is the mystery of six? All right, that's the question for today. That is the question for number 140 on the list of the 144 fractal faculties of the Tree of Life. If you'd like to get a full listing of all 144 fractal faculties with just a couple sentences on each one, just to orient yourself, be able to compare and contrast and see the whole big picture. That's just put your email, name and email in the comment section, and I'll send that out to you for free. So my free guide to the 144 fractal faculties, just put your name and email in the comment section. You can also watch my video called Tree of Life, an Introduction on YouTube. That is just 10 minutes long, and it should give you the background that you need to be able to follow along with all these videos. If you want to get more of a background and a deeper dive into the Tree of Life, you can send me $10 on Venmo or Cash App, and I will send you a copy of my book called The Mass Tree, which is an introduction to the Tree of Life. Okay, now today we're looking at number 140. Now this is the tree, and this is basically a map of our consciousness. So it's a map, meaning that it is a three-dimensional structure or three or more dimensional structure, and it's being projected onto a two-dimensional surface. So it's not telling you the whole story, and it's leaving some things out, but it is a representation that helps us to get a grasp of the whole thing. Now, as I've said before in other videos, you may recognize this as being over here and vice versa. In my humble opinion, I think that it doesn't matter. The tree is symmetrical from right to left, but actually what I see is that it's rotating. So it's rotating in both directions. So you can see this side over on this side, or vice versa, and vice versa, depending on where it is in the rotation or which one you're looking at. And that when you see this side over here on the left-hand side, you're really seeing it as you're being in a trance state in either alpha or delta or theta brainwave states. In those states, the future is on the left-hand side, and this is representative, indicative of the future. If you're in just normal beta brain waves, then this will be on the left-hand side. So, what I see is really that you have two different trees, and they're counter-rotating, which is what a lot of the Platonic solids engage in. And if you notice, the Tree of Life is the Platonic solids. Here's a tetrahedron, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You got an half octahedron or a pyramid, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then up here you have your 6 around 1, which is your equator of your vector equilibrium. Now, if you know your Platonics, you can also see that this is the outer layer, the tetrahedron. But if you take the midpoints of each one of the 6 edges of the tetrahedron, and you connect all of those midpoints, then what you get is the octahedron. The octahedron is concealed within the tetrahedron. And then you take the octahedron and you connect, you take the midpoints of all of the edges of the octahedron and you connect them, then what you get is the vector equilibrium, or the cube octahedron. Okay, so the cube octahedron is at the deepest center of the octahedron, which is concealed within at the center of the tetrahedron. So we have a little structure here that is kind of advancing. You're getting closer and closer to the center. Okay, now that's not terribly relevant to what we're talking about exactly right now, but we are talking about the tree of life, so I guess it is. So the tree of life is a map of our consciousness. Each one of the circles or spheres on the tree represents a different aspect of our consciousness, or a different faculty of our consciousness. There are 12 of them, numbered from 10 to 0, which also adds in this the abyss here. So a total of 12, and each one is a different aspect of our consciousness. When we're talking about number 140, we are up here in the 0 sphere. So we're dealing with the 0 sphere aspect of consciousness, which has to do with really almost a lack of consciousness, or a lack of experience. It has to do with nothingness. 0 has to do with nothingness. 0 is not part of the universe. There is no 0, okay? But there is a 0 in the creator. So the creator, the one, is the all, everything. Everything in the universe is part of the one. Everything has at its deepest center, it has this God particle, or this one, the all, and they're all connected. They're all identical. What's at the deepest center of me is what's at the deepest center of you. We're all connected at this. We're all part of this universe. But the 0 sphere is the part of the universe, part of the creator, that is not part of the universe. So this is the part of the creator that the creator reserves for itself. So it is part of the creator, but it is not part of the universe. So it is something that we only can perceive indirectly through this one. So as a result, corresponds to nothingness, no experience. It corresponds to a lack of something. But it also corresponds to, say, with numbers, with mathematics, once they introduced the 0 into mathematics, mathematics was able to take off, even though they knew that the 0 doesn't really exist. But when you can use it, when you utilize it, it yields great results. Another way to think about it is non-REM sleep. We do not experience non-REM sleep. We're out cold. It's dreamless sleep, the deepest sleep. When we wake up, we feel replenished, but we had no experience of it. We were out. So that's another kind of a 0 sphere kind of thing. Now, when we're talking about the 0 sphere, we're talking about one of our 12 faculties of consciousness. But in this model, we're dealing with 144 fractal faculties of consciousness. To get from 12 to 144, you simply, take the number to the second power. 12 times 12 equals 144. And graphically, that's represented by taking the whole tree and shrinking it down to just the size of each one of the spheres, and superimposing it on each one of the spheres. So you're basically imagining that the whole tree is here on the 9th sphere. The whole tree is here on the 10th sphere. So each one of the spheres is being divided up into its 12 parts based on the same structure, on the same tree of life. So within the 9th sphere, you have a mini 10th sphere, you have a mini 9th sphere, you have a mini 8th sphere, a mini 7th sphere, or you could also call it a fractal 10th sphere, fractal 9th sphere, or a fractional 10th and 9th sphere. So within the 0 sphere as well, all of the whole tree is superimposed on the 0 sphere. Now the difference with the 0 sphere is that it's inverted. So the lowest is actually the 0 sphere, the 0 fractal, and then we count up, and the 10th fractal is really at the top. So the 0 sphere is inverted in that way as well. Now, so when we're talking about number 140, what fractal are we talking about? We're talking about the 6th fractal within the 0 sphere. If you recall, the 6th fractal is our free will faculty. This is really our ability to pay attention and our ability to make decisions. Generally, our attention is a vector. It has a direction. Our attention points in a direction. And normally, unfortunately, our attention is normally directed down to the bottom of the tree, to our conditionings and what we grew up with, what we regard as normal, here at the 6th sphere, what we're really doing is we're making the decision to stop paying attention, or at least paying so much attention to our lower aspects here, and turn ourselves around and pay attention to the higher aspects of the tree. Starting with number 5 here. So that takes a great deal of courage to do that, because now we're looking into the unknown. We don't really have a great idea of what's up here. So we go from, like, paying attention to our comfort zone to paying attention to the unknown. And that is, kind of the crux there of the 6th sphere. So now for number 140, we're thinking about this 6th sphere within the overall greater context of the 0 sphere. And again, just remember that the 0 sphere corresponds to arithmetic and numerology. Okay, we've got the quadrivium up here. The 3rd sphere is music and mantra, but for the quadrivium, music. And then the 2nd sphere has to do with astronomy and astrology. The 1st sphere has to do with geometry and sacred geometry. And the 1st sphere has to do with mathematics and numerology. That's the ancient quadrivium. And so, and these 1 and 0, these are perfect sciences, geometry and arithmetic. They don't make mistakes. They're always there, they're always perfect, and they're always right. And so they're the perfect representation of the Creator. And so this is all just to say that you can also just think of this 6th sphere up here as really just 6, the number 6. And that's what we're doing here to a large extent. 6, number 40, 6 ways, 6 degrees. Stage number 140 is about 6 and its functions. To start, 6 balls in closest packing create the octahedron. 6 is the volume of the rhombic dodecahedron. 6 is the fundamental polyhedral divisor, in that the number of edges of all platonic solids are divisible by 6. 6 equal balls or circles fit exactly around another equal ball or circle in a plane. This shows the geometrical arithmetical balance of free will and determinism in the universe. You can't make 5 balls go around 1, or 7, or 6 and a fraction. It is exactly 6. That's just the way it is, and there is nothing anyone can do about it. It is determined. Not even omnipotence can make 7 balls go around one. We either adapt to it or we don't at our peril. We can choose to do so by our free will, but we cannot choose the rules. It is cut and dried, determined. So our free will is not absolute in our ability to do anything that we want, but it is absolute insofar as we can pay attention to the behavior of the universe and make decisions to harmonize ourselves with it. 6 ways from Sunday in the vector equilibrium. In each vector equilibrium from the center ball, the omnidirectional checkerboard, which is at the core of all crystalline structures, we can move in 6 different directions, plus or minus, meaning, we can move, going forward and going backward are the same direction. To move to one of the other nodes of the vector equilibrium, from the center, we can move 6 ways in both positive and negative directions. There are also 6 ways that 2 bodies can react in proximity to each other. Namely smash up, reflection, refraction, rotation or orbit, tangential avoidance, and modulated non-interference. There are also 6 ways of, or 6 kinds of systemic motion. Systems can spin, they can orbit, they can contract and expand, they can torque, or spin, they can turn inside out, and they can interprocess their parts. 6 degrees of separation, or 6 degrees of freedom. 6 degrees of freedom in Euclidean geometry, 3 linear and 3 rotational. 3 of translation, XYZ, and 3 of rotation, IJK. And negatively, we unify by getting rid of the 6 degrees of separation. In one of the planes of the vector equilibrium, we separate in rays that make 60 degrees. And the 6 degrees of freedom evoke cubic geometry toward each of the 6 faces of the cube. The closest packing of spheres characterizes all crystalline assemblages of atoms. Okay, that might have been a little bit anticlimactic there, but that is number 140, the 6th fractal of the zero sphere. 6 ways, 6 degrees. And we'll have more to say about all that as we go along. There's a lot of synergetic geometry in there, sacred geometry, and a lot of this is from the Buckminster Fuller material on synergetic geometry. So yeah, we'll be doing a whole unit on that as we move along in this, as we move through this course here. So yeah, if you'd like to get that free copy of my guide to the 144 fractal faculties, again, just put your name and email in the comment section. I'll send that out to you for free. You can also pay $10 and get my book called The Mass Tree. It's just 65 pages on Tree of Life. $10 to Venmo or Cash App listed in the description. You can also donate to me directly through those apps. And otherwise, stay tuned. I will be doing number 141 on this list here tomorrow. And I'm feverishly working on some other content here. It's going slow, though, but that's fine. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in today. Have a great day. We hope to see you back soon.